Hi guys, it's Gav here from dartsplanet.tv. Thanks for joining me as always, and today I've managed to get the awesome Burton DeWitt on my show to talk darts. So thank you for joining me today, Burton. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you, Gavin?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thank you so much for agreeing to come on the show and talk about some of these fascinating stats that you come up with.
Well, my pleasure.
First of all, just before we go any further, can I just ask, how did you get into darts and that in the first place, Burton?
Well, I think it's the same way everyone got into darts. Like everyone else, I used to be a horse racing journalist, and when I was a horse racing journalist, this would have been December 2011, January 2012, all of the English horse racing journalists, well, not all, but a few of them started reading about the World Championships. It was the year that Adrian Lewis retained his title, beating Andy Hamilton in the final.
Yeah.
When I first started tweeting about it, I had no idea what they were talking about, but I found it online, and I got hooked, and I can't say I was immediately watching everything. I didn't watch again until the following year's World Championship, although I was still following it, but since then I've watched pretty much everything now for over 5 years.
The expansion even since then has been absolutely massive, hasn't it?
It has, and like, I guess first year I was watching everything would have been the third year of the European Tour, and back then it was only 8 events. I think they're already at the 20 Players' Championship events, but now we're up to 13 Euro Tour events. The World Series was just getting started back then. Now we're up to 6 events, including the World Series final, and it looks like it's just going to keep growing from there.
World Series is just awesome, and I think that's probably one of my favourite tournaments, especially because they get to go to other parts of the world and keep introducing and finding, you know, new talent as well, isn't it? And putting darts in the map. Obviously, Japan and all these different places is going to be massive in the future, isn't it?
Yeah, I've talked to Barry Hearn about it on my show. I've talked to Matthew Porter, and that's the point of it. They want to get darts everywhere. Darts is everywhere.
Yeah.
But PDC darts isn't yet everywhere. If you look right now, there's only one Asian tour card holder, and he doesn't play any of the events right in Lanham. Well, he doesn't play any of the PDC events, I should say, although he's playing the Asian tour. But now they have the Asian tour this year. There's PDC sanctioned tours in Australia and New Zealand. There's not a PDC sanctioned tour in North America, but they're starting to work alongside the CDC, which is the North American tour, and that might be, I hope that becomes PDC sanctioned in the future. And it's getting darts everywhere under the PDC banner, and that's only good for darts.
Did you see the 9 darter in the Asian one this year? Was that on the second day, or was that in the final?
That was in the final of, I can't remember if it was the first or second event, but it was the first weekend.
Yeah.
A player that none of us had heard of before, and it shows you how many really good players there are, how many players there are who, under the pressure of a final, are able to hit a 9 dart leg. I can't hit a 9 dart leg of 301 if it's my best leg, although it's a lie. I have had a 9 dart leg of 301 once, but this is in the final, someone we've never heard of.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Do it to level.
And you think about it at the moment, I don't know what the stat is. Is it something like 2011 or 2012, since there was the last 9 darter on the European Tour or something? Is that about 6 or 7 years?
It was 2013 in Gibraltar, Ross Smith. It was the first year that they streamed the Euro Tour events. The Euro Tour started in 2012 with 5 events, and I think there were 6 9 darters in those 5 events, but it wasn't streamed, so there's no video of them. I think one event had 3 just by itself. And then the first year they streamed it was 2013, and the second or third event was in Gibraltar. Ross Smith hit it.
Yeah.
That's the only streamed one. Hasn't happened since then.
That's crazy, isn't it? With like the standard of the players that are in it, and then, like you said, there's loads of them now, isn't there?
There is, and you look at the players who have come close. When I was in Riesa, it was the first Euro Tour event I attended. Joe Cullen got 8 darts in. When he was 5 in, I started running from the press room to go witness it. And I got there just in time to watch him miss the last dart. And I get back to the press room, and they say, clearly you're a Euro Tour rookie. He was never going to hit that 9th dart. And now, of course, I mean, I kind of knew it at the time, but just in case, I wanted to be out there when he hit it, but he missed it.
Brilliant. So what about so is darts popular? Where did you actually grow up then, Burton? Where you actually based or from, and you know, how long have you been over in the UK?
So Where I'm from is a good question. I consider myself from Texas, but that's not where I grew up. I grew up till I was 10 in Miami and then Long Island, New York. And if you go to a pub, there'll be a dartboard. There might be a dartboard, but it's not really popular. Nobody there knows who Phil Taylor or Raymond Van Barneveld are. They don't even know who Larry Butler is. And, you know, he's a major champion from the U.S.
I thought everybody knew who Larry Butler was over there.
Nope. No one knows who Larry Butler is. I like to joke that even in Larry Butler's family, they're not sure who Larry Butler is. But,
and that's brilliant.
But he's... more people in the UK know who he is, by far. But I consider myself from Texas, where I've lived the longest. Lived there for 11 years, 8 years in Houston. Houston's, in fact, or the suburbs of Houston, is where probably the most talented U.S. player is from, former soft tip #1, Leonard Gates. He's from just outside of Houston, 20 miles from where I live, but we consider that still the same town or city. I've been in the UK since September, end of September, beginning of October, based in Oxford.
And what about your standards? So obviously you have a game of darts yourself. What sort of level do you play at? Do you hit loads of big averages yourself?
It depends on what you consider big. Once I move past 2 hands for 180s, I consider that an achievement. I now have to use a third hand to count the number of 180s I've hit in my life. 14, including one that was a bust. 13 if you exclude that one. Had 52 left, hit treble 20 first start. I decided to keep going and actually ended up with a 180. But I will count that as one of the 14 I've hit.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
That answers the standard I play at.
I would have done exactly the same. It doesn't matter. I think if I was on, I don't know, 128 and I hit 2 triple 12, I'd just have to get another one just to add it, because I'm only at 5. I think I have loads of 140s, but I always miss the final one. Put too much pressure on myself, I think. So what got you into the stats then, Bert? And obviously you told us about, when you got into darts and different things. Where did all this stats come from?
So I was keeping track of rankings for myself. I wanted to know, if my favorite players were qualifying for stuff. And people started asking me, because I knew ahead of time who was going to be in which events. And that's how the ranking stats came about. People just started asking me on Twitter, and I started posting them, and they came to the attention of Chris Mason, Rod Studd, and a few other people. As far as the match stats, which I no longer do, I've ceded that territory to Christopher Kemp, because what he does is remarkable.
Yeah.
I've always thought that the main statistics that are used in darts aren't really that reflective. That's why we have someone like James Wade, who's won 7 or 8 major titles, but doesn't have the number of ton-plus averages as people who will never win a major title.
No, definitely not.
Because it's just not it is a somewhat indicative stat, but it's not a fully indicative stat. And I was trying to create a handicap rating and looking at things in different ways that would hopefully be more indicative. And one thing I was able to do when I was doing this was identify Johnny Clayton as someone who was a lot better than his ranking. This was 2 years ago. Yeah. He was the, I think, 11th or 12th best player on the European Tour that year. Okay. And nobody knew who he was, even then. Yeah. And now look at what's happened, especially in the last 6 months. Won a Pro Tour, made the finals of the Players' Championship. Yep. Now he won a European Tour, made another Pro Tour final.
Yeah. Beat MVG convincingly with what was it, a 107 average this weekend? Was it just gone?
Against Van Guren, I think it was a 111. And he was
111, was it?
116 for most of the match.
Wow. That's incredible. Can I just say, when you was on the James Wade thing there, and I might have mentioned this in one of my other videos, I always feel that, like you say, I know he's one of the majors and that, and he doesn't have the high averages, but most players I always find play the board, but with James Wade, I feel often that he just plays the player in front of him. Have you ever thought that?
He definitely does, and he's not the only one.
Okay.
Mensur Suljovic is another player like that as well, where you can see that they know when the big moments are and when they need to have their concentration at the best.
Yeah.
And can afford to take a leg off, and that's what affects the averages. If you threw out, and I haven't done the math, but I'm sure Christopher Kemp can show this, if you threw out the 20% of legs that are the lowest or the worst that James Wade throws, he's probably a mid-105, 106 player. but he knows when he doesn't have to play his best. He doesn't need to break every single leg that his opponent's throwing.
Yeah.
If his opponent kicks off 140 and he already has a break, he can save himself to make sure he holds. And he's good enough that he's going to throw in that 15-darter and hold. Mincer-Suljovic is the same way. I think the quintessential Mincer-Suljovic match was 2016 first round of the match play against Stephen Bunting. Got a break, third leg of the match, and it was all hold of throws from then out.
Yeah.
And he had a couple times he had a chance to break again, but Bunting took out a big out. But it was basically just coasting from there and didn't give Bunting a sniff on his throw.
On his throw. Didn't care what he did on the other one, but he knew on his throw he did enough just to hold it. And that's... Do you think that's a? Do you think you have to be a certain player then, Burton, to be able to play like that? Because you always hear a lot of the top professionals will always say the advice I would give to somebody is play the dartboard. Do you? Where do you think is it? Do you have to be a certain type of player to be like that?
I mean, I think you do, because I mean, one, it requires confidence.
Yeah.
You have to be confident that you are going to be able to hold your throw 7 or 8 times, and you're going to be able to create the chances that you need to break if you don't hold your throw.
Yeah.
And that takes confidence to be able to know you don't have to win every leg. You can pick your moments and make sure you're at your best at that time. That's something that comes with confidence. Not everyone has that confidence.
No.
Great players don't have that confidence, especially not all the time. I think it's not necessarily the type of player. I think it's the amount of confidence they have at the time. And we've seen in the last couple of years where Wade's confidence has gone down. It's coming back now. Yeah. And with his confidence comes, what we call waiting, him taking out the right shots at the right time, him being able to put himself in the position to take out the right shots at the right time. And that comes, it's not the type of player he is, it's that he has the confidence and he's a great player behind that.
Do you think that the Premier League also has a huge impact? Like a few years ago, or 2 or 3 years ago, when James Wade worked in the Premier League, he seemed to do really well. Then he got back into it, and then didn't do so well. Now this year he's obviously out of it and playing well again. Gerwyn Price now is out of it. You can see the difference in him already as well. Do you think the pressures of the Premier League affect some players? And that just knocks their confidence. Like Wes Newton always springs to mind as one of the players for me that got to the Premier League, was in it a couple of years, and he's just gone totally off the rails. Michael Smith's obviously proved that from being all his confidence being knocked a few years ago, that you can come back and do it. And whether Gerwyn Price will do the same, I'm not sure, but he is now performing a lot better now he's out of it, isn't he?
Yeah, I think there's 2 things that can come out of a bad Premier League campaign. One is the absolute dent to your confidence, but the other is the fact that it's just a grind, and the schedule and the travel and everything can take the energy out of you.
Right.
And I think the worst is when you have the mix where you're dead tired from having to go now not just all over Britain, but also Netherlands and Germany. So you're dead tired from all that traveling, and you're not getting the results and losing confidence. The mix of that is, I think, the worst. And it's tough to identify which players really suffered from that. A lot of people say Mark Webster, but he actually had one of his best years following that Premier League campaign, and got up to number 6 in the world and made the semifinals of World Championship. So, yes, Webster had a terrible Premier League campaign, but it didn't really affect him.
No.
Newton, I think you're right about. I think Simon Whitlock, the last time he was in the Premier League, absolutely. But whether it's the confidence, whether it's just the tiredness, especially when you also now throw in that you're going to be doing World Series events and things like that.
Yeah.
I don't know which factor it is, but I think it's the combination of those that really run the risk of derailing a season, and in the case of, possibly in the case of Wes Newton, his career.
Yeah. Well, Anderson's quite clever, really, isn't he? Because he's been in the Premier League, but he ain't doing any of the European tour or anything, is he? He stays out of that, doesn't he?
And I think that has helped him to some extent, because it gives him time off and he lets him be fresh while some of these players are going to everything.
Yeah.
And you look at someone, especially someone like Peter Wright or Daryl Gurney, who really do go to everything. They do not take the weekend off. It can get to you, and I think that's a big thing about where Peter Wright's been struggling recently, is that he's he's done too much.
Yeah.
And his game is really suffering right now.
Yeah, it is,
not just in the Premier League, but on the floor, which we've not seen before. And I think part of that's tiredness.
Yeah.
You're playing darts 5, 6, or you're traveling to play darts or playing 5, 6 days every week. That's not healthy.
No, it's not. It's like, well, Mensah Suljovic sort of tried it. He stayed away from was it the big UK Open this year? He stayed away from, which really surprised me because obviously he's in a really good position in the rankings at the moment, and he's got hold on to a lot of points. So I was surprised that he didn't go to a couple of the tournaments.
The thing to remember about Mensah, though, is he has a family, and it's not just, that he has a family, but he has a family, and he's having to come from Central Europe to Britain to play Premier League, and then stay Britain another 3-4 days to play the UK Open qualifiers. Yeah. And it's not like his family is, all teenagers. He just had a newborn last year, so he has literally a baby or a toddler that he has to help raise, and it's a big commitment. The Premier League, he wanted to do the Premier League. He earned the Premier League, and he didn't make, yes, he was relegated. He did not make a fool of himself.
No, not all. He had some of the highest averages, didn't he? Yeah. He had an average of, was it 102 or something over the whole thing, wasn't it?
Something like that. I think it was just under the ton in the end.
Was it?
A couple bad matches near the end, or not as good.
Yeah.
But he averaged 106 and lost to Simon Whitlock the first night.
I know. It was.
I think family has to come first, and for him, or at least for him, family comes first, and that's why he was skipping those.
Yeah, and I think it's a bit like last year. He's when he got offered, in the Premier League last year, he said that he weren't ready for it and different things. So he know where he's at, doesn't he? Anyway, we'd better get on to some of these because I'd chat to you all night. But if you're not already can tell, I'm the world's biggest chatterbox. So with some of these stats and that. Have you got certain software that you use? You got algorithms? Where do you put it all to generate these amazing tweets that I put on sometimes? Like when you and Chris, I go on to Twitter and I see a stat and I think I wouldn't have even thought to do that stat, at alone tweet it out sort of thing. They're brilliant.
I have way too many files of Microsoft Excel files on my computer, and some of them have. You can have separate sheets within the same file, and I think my one for the rankings has like 16 or 17 different sheets.
Oh, wow.
And I've just over time built up historical databases of information. When I was doing the match stats, that was a thing in and of itself. It reached the point where it took about 3 or 4 seconds to save the file. That's how much information.
Wow, that's incredible.
And Excel's not the best way to database because it's not naturally a database store. Although I turned it into one because that's all I knew how to do. But it's all just putting stuff in Excel files, creating the formula that I need, and it spits it out. I mean, obviously I have to put in the data as well.
Yeah.
Eventually it spits out whatever I'm looking for, assuming I put it in correctly.
Is it still? It must be still quite time consuming, obviously, because after all the matches and different things, putting the information in and updating them, and then tweeting the ones that you think are really interesting. How many hours does it out of your time? A week does it take?
It's usually not as bad as it seems because I can get through a tournament, at least for the ranking. And when I was doing the match stats, Euro Tour event took about 2 hours to get all the statistics I needed from that.
Yeah.
And that, it reached the point where I'd be sitting on the couch with my mates watching TV or a movie or something, and I had my laptop open because I had to finish up the statistics.
Yeah.
And I had beer in one hand, laptop on my lap. Literally, that's why it's called a laptop, so you can have it in your lap.
Yeah.
It's on darts.
With a beer as well. Too right.
Luckily, I never spilt the beer on the laptop. But that was just taking too much time. For the rankings, I can get the information in about 10-15 minutes, and I'm doing it sporadically. Once the first round completes, sort everything alphabetically, and I put the information in, and I have a couple different sheets open simultaneously, and I'm just putting in the 500 quid, 1,000 quid, round by round.
Yeah.
And except around the cutoffs where I need to go through and figure out who has clinched their spot, what does this person need to make sure they're in, and things like that, and figuring out all the different permutations. That takes time, and I'll have to do that in a couple months as the match play cutoff gets closer. But when I'm just doing it on a normal weekend, maybe an hour tops for the weekend, hour, 15 minutes.
Yeah. I especially like the ones that you do when it's like this is the first time that maybe a certain player's gonna not make this or haven't. They're the stats that I like because I've used, as you've probably seen, a few of them in my videos as well, because I obviously follow you on Twitter, look at them and I think, God, that'll be really good to include in the video. I find them probably some of the most interesting ones.
Yeah, and some of those, some of the historical stuff I just have already created the historical database of. Some of those things, like the Robert Thornton one that I had the other day, I had to actually go and look through and check and find the last time he played a Players' Championship event where he wasn't seeded.
Yeah.
It didn't take that long, because at least I knew when to start looking. And if he's won 4 Pro Tour events like he did early in, 2014,
yeah.
Well, he's going to be seeded for the rest of them that year, and I didn't need to check everyone.
No.
Could have had one, yeah, but he was ranked number 5 in the Pro Tour order of merit.
Yeah.
Through that year with all that money already saved. So I didn't, that wasn't as bad as it could have been.
I think the best ones, when I go on Twitter, is if there is anybody asking you questions or anything, they'll tag you in and sort of say, oh, Burton or Wikipedia will know the answers. Yeah. Do you get a lot of questions and people asking you stuff as well from your stats that want to know stuff?
And sometimes I'll wake up and I'll have 8 that I missed.
Yeah.
And sometimes people get mad that I don't respond to them. I'm like, hey, you know what? Sometimes I forget that you sent me something while I was asleep. And also I have other things to do that don't involve me looking up the answer to your question. Not that I'm upset that people ask me stuff.
No.
But
I can't imagine though. It must be, like I say, because there's always somebody want to know something. And obviously with so many articles and so many tournaments and the Players' Championships and Euro, there's always people that want to know these things that cover them. And if you can include something like that in your blog or your article or my video like it, it does make a real difference to the viewers or the readers. They love to know that stuff, don't they?
Yeah, and I've gone.
You're a celebrity, Burton. You're a celebrity.
I guess. I don't like to think of myself as that, but sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely. So, do you think this is something that you're always going to do, or? Obviously you enjoy it and it's fun. And I have to ask, you don't actually work for the PDC, do you? It's just that obviously you do, or do you? No? No,
I don't. This is just a hobby for me. I have my own business. I have my own priorities outside of it. And this is, what I do in, I was going to say some of my spare time, but it's become more than some.
Yeah, I can imagine.
The last year or so. But it's just a hobby for me. I love the sport. I love darts, and it's, I guess, you said I'm a celebrity. It was not intentional to be a celebrity in my hobby, but it's, I guess, it's taking up enough of my time that, I don't know what else to say about that. But no,
everybody knows you, don't they? It's, you're anything stat related, you or Wikipedia, everybody knows you're fat. So I'd call you a celebrity anyway, even if you don't yourself.
Well, I'm fine if you choose to do it.
Also, what I want to know is, I've got so many other questions I'd like to ask you. We're at about 23 minutes now. I wonder, again, like I'm going to do with Chris, could we maybe do another video another time? And actually, I can pick some of your tweets and some of your stuff that I find most interesting and cover them as well?
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Just before we go, who are your favourite players? I can see you've got a Menchesilic shirt on there. It's got to be Mensah now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, no, Mensah is my favorite. As a fan, Mensah is my favorite player.
Yeah.
I'm going to answer this question as a fan because now that I actually know some of the players, I've met them, and it's different when you actually know these people. And now, I'm watching matches, and I don't want anyone to lose because
you know them. You want them all to do well who you've met, don't you?
Yeah, it definitely does. But when you do meet these people and you know what they're like as people, and they're just normal people. We don't think of, or at least fans, we don't think of them as normal people, but they are normal people with normal lives, etc., etc. And once you know them, you want them to win everything, and obviously they can't because they're going to be going against someone else.
Exactly.
But as a fan, Mensah's my favorite.
Yeah.
Kyle Anderson has always been a favorite of mine.
The original.
Sorry?
Oh, sorry, the original, isn't he? I like his nick. I think it's good with the shirt and that he wears, obviously.
You have to respect what he's done.
Yeah.
Moving literally half the way around the world.
Yeah.
You know, was it 12 and a half time zones from Western Australia?
Yeah.
And going from the bottom of the southern hemisphere to the top of the northern hemisphere.
Yeah, incredible.
To living for his family, to provide for his children.
Yeah.
And, you know, we talk about Mensah as a family man. Kyle's a family man.
He is.
And he can't, you know, go home on the weekends to be with his family because they're half a world away. The sacrifice he's making, you have to respect that.
Yeah, definitely. The sacrifices are huge, but rewards are good if they put the effort in. Obviously, you know, Cadby's going to be another one that's coming over soon. I love Corey. I would love to meet Corey Cadby. I think I just like his persona. I like the way he is. I know there was all them things with the Gerwyn Price not long back, but I just like. I just think he's a quality player to watch, and I like his confidence. I liked it in the UK Open, obviously before he went back to, you know, to get married. That I'm going to win it. It already. I like it, but a bit of Marmite, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, it's impressive how quickly he's hit the ground running, especially because he did not have a good year last year in Australia. I don't know if it was motivation. I don't know what it was, but he actually really struggled last year in Australia, and he didn't. That's why he didn't qualify for the World Championship, and he had 2 chances.
Yeah, he did.
Include the World Youth Championship.
Yeah.
But he's shown his class. Won the tour card first day. Second weekend, won a Pro Tour event, and then made the final of the UK Open. And it's when he gets back, he's going to be dangerous. And you know, if he gets back soon, if he gets back from Milton Keynes in a couple weeks, then he has every chance to make the match play, even though he's lost out on 2 months, and he's really lost out on half a year.
Yeah, he has. He's signed with Target as well now, isn't he?
Yeah, he's signed with Target. It starts. I think they come out Wednesday or Thursday this week.
Yeah, I think he's absolutely brilliant. Well, listen, Burton, thank you so much for coming on Darts Planet today, TV today. I really, really appreciate your time. Is there, you know, just before you go, do you want to talk a little bit about what day do your show come on? I know that you do your own show as well, don't you?
Yes, our show normally comes Thursday, sometime Wednesday. We're actually taking this week off because I had 2 exams last week and I'm playing catch up this week.
Yeah.
So squeeze this interview in, but I have 3 essays to write and I just don't have time because it takes us an hour to record plus organizing everything and editing. So we're taking this week off, but we will be back next week. And we're usually out Thursday morning. Fantastic.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks to everybody that's watched this video. I hope that you enjoyed my chat with Burton today. If you do like dartsplanet.tv, don't forget to leave me a like and hit that subscribe button. And I'll catch you all next time. Thank you guys. Bye.